Lots of teams have lost lots of players, which means maybe Super Bowl windows are closing. Let's talk to the podcast crew about that. As somebody once said, Dan Hanzus, we'll do it live. And this is a live podcast hit on closing windows. Hello, boys.
How exciting is this? Hello, Andrew. And, Andrew, we don't like to be the bearers of bad news and to get fan bases down, but we got to keep it real. Well, Greg does. We have to keep it real here. The windows have closed potentially on some teams that had real Super Bowl shots. And let's start, Wes, with those Cincinnati Bengals. They've had some losses. Is the window closed?
It is. And, right before that devastating playoff loss to the Steelers a couple of years ago, John Harbaugh said the Bengals had the most talented roster in the NFL. They have gone from one of the best offensive lines to an ugly core group there on the offensive line. The backfield, the wide receiver core, no longer deep. Defensive line, secondary, both issues now.
But when you think of the Bengals, who do you think of? You think of A.J. Green. You think of Andy Dalton. You think of Geno Atkins. All those guys are under 30 years old. Maybe Marvin Lewis has to win this year or else his window is going to close. But as long as those core guys are young, I think it's open.
I'm with you. This window will never close. What are you talking about?
I'm with you. I think, it's the middle of March. They've got a bunch of draft picks. This is a team that wants to build through the draft. They lost a few free agents, but because Kevin Zeitler went to the other team in Ohio, I don't think means the window's closed on the Bengals.
We've talked a lot about Duke Tobin, saying what a great guy he is in terms of drafting. If he comes through in the draft, then they should be fine.
All right, let's look in the other conference, the Arizona Cardinals, another team that everybody was all pumped up about, all or nothing. Wes, is it nothing?
It is. It's nothing. They had a Super Bowl window, and I'm sorry, but it's passed them by. You lose defensive stars in Tony Jefferson and Calais Campbell, but it's way beyond that. Carson Palmer and Larry Fitzgerald have declined. Fitzgerald has one 100-yard game in the last 23 games. Carson Palmer was an issue for most of last season. Tyrann Mathieu, Defensive Player of the Year candidate 2 years ago, no longer even an above-average starter last year.
Half the division doesn't have a quarterback answer. I don't think that I can count the Cardinals out right now.
And we talked about Carson Palmer played well the last half of the season, that it would help if he comes back. This is a team that I feel like it's a little bit personal with Wes. I mean, he fell. He was all in with the Cardinals. Now that they struggled, now he's out.
How about this? Read Wes's piece on NFL.com.